Hey everyone, so I wanted to shoot this video as kind of a part two to the first video. And the video is basically explains to you how we get prints like this to come out with layer lines that are so tight that we can go from the print bed right into paint with no post-processing. The first video was more of an explanation. We didn't actually run through a print. So what we're gonna do in this video is actually start a print, run through that print adjustment process where you can see the minor adjustments that we make up and down to the Z height to get us to a point where our models come out looking like this, where there are basically layer lines that are so minuscule that you can go straight to paint. This is really going to benefit you guys that do a lot of cosplay stuff. If you want to sand it and make it even finer, you can do that. But, in the trophy business, our trophies need to look phenomenal. And, we pull the print right off the print bed. We pull the brim off, pull any supports off that we might have, and then go straight into paint. And the models come out looking perfect. We use a single stage paint. We'll share this stuff at the end, but we use a single stage paint. We don't use any primer. So we're gonna tell you about that at the end of the video. Let me say this first, that we had a lot of questions about the nozzle we use. We use a 0.4 nozzle. We don't use a finer nozzle. The 0.4 nozzle is perfect for coming out with prints like this. It all has to do with the settings that are made during the first couple of layers of the print. Let me address that first video for just a second. When we posted up that first video, we received a lot of positive comments, and I appreciate the views from everybody that took the time to watch the video. But almost as many positive comments that we received almost that many negative comments. And the negative comments were all basically geared towards the same narrative. And that was people calling BS on the video. We must be post-processing and then shooting the video. They were basically calling BS on the video. You should not have to make adjustments during your print. It should all be done in the slicer or in the leveling prior to the print. I'll tell you this, that you can come up with any slicer setting you want. You can level the bed as many times as you want. You are not going to come out with a print that comes out this fine without making those super fine adjustments during the first or second or third level of your print. You need to make those adjustments. And that's what we're going to do in this video, is actually make those adjustments so you can see it happen in real time. There's been a question about why we turn commenting off. And I'm going to tell you why we turn commenting off. We turn it off for one reason. I share these videos with you guys so you can get the help that you need to hopefully get your prints to come out as fine as ours. A lot of the comments were so negative that I don't want those comments to dissuade anyone from actually watching the video. I don't want someone who needs the help to come to the video, see a comment that says this video is BS, and then just not watch the video because they'd rather believe the comment because that's what's in front of them. YouTube gives me the ability to shut comments off. And that's one of the reasons, because I don't want you to be dissuaded from gaining that information because of a negative comment. YouTube gives me the ability to shut those comments off, and that's what I do. I basically don't allow anyone to hijack my post and stop you from watching the post because they try and convince you that there's no way that what you're watching is actually real. My question is this: how did they find my video in the first place? The video is about printing with no layer lines. Well, they must be having problems with their prints because they're searching out videos with no layer lines. So how are they qualified to post something that says this video is BS when they're searching out posts on how to eliminate their layer lines? The internet just blows my mind sometimes. So anyway, this video, again, is going to walk you through the process. Hopefully you'll gain something from it. Watch the first video if you want. It gives also an explanation of how we do it. And hopefully between this video and the first one, you'll get your prints to come out as fine as ours. Again, I'll be sharing the print settings at the end of the video. So hopefully, you can gain some information from that as well. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the videos. If you want to post up a like, that's great. I appreciate it. I'll never ask anyone to follow my channel. That's up to you. So, I will be posting up, stuff as time goes on. So, if you want to be notified, hit the bell, I guess. That's how it works. I don't really know. I'm not really a YouTuber. But anyway, On with the settings. Okay, the bed is warmed up. Sorry for that. It's a little bit of a glare, if that helps. It's going to shoot across. It's going to lay the first strip, or the purge strip. And with this glue, when the print head comes across and starts to print, if you see a line in that glue, your print head is too low already because it's scratching the glue. So as you can see, there's no line there, so the print head is high. Now it's laying down the first strip, and it's hard to see because the PLA that I'm using is Elegoo, but it's gray, so it's a little translucent. So what I'm going to do is let it print this brim, and then when it starts printing the first layer across, I'll cut back into the video and we'll start making some adjustments. Okay, so the brim is printed, and what we're going to do is wait until we get enough of that first layer down, maybe where it's, I don't know, 2 inches wide, where we can run our finger across it and feel if there's a texture. So I just wanted to show you that it started to print. As you can see, if I get it to focus, the brim is pretty nice, but there are a couple of lines in it that are raised. So I'll let this print about 2-3 inches, or about 2 inches of the first layer, and then I'll cut back in and we'll start making some adjustments. Okay, so we've got some of the first layer down, and here you can see where on the edge it's not going all the way to the end. It's not meeting the brim. Also, you can see through that layer, and then the layer above that, which is right, this layer up here, is also very rough. So when it was very rough, I adjusted it just a little bit because I didn't want to gum up the nozzle. And then here you can see that you can see through it, and it's really rough. But this right here is really rough as well, and that's the initial Z height when I leveled the bed. So that was incorrect as well. That's a very rough surface, and that's not what you want. Also, you can see on the ends that it doesn't quite meet the brim either. So we need to make some adjustments and get this layer smooth. It's getting ready to meet that hole. So we'll make an adjustment after it prints past that hole. Okay, we just got past that hole. So now we're gonna start making some adjustments. This, knock off that glare, that Z offset of 1.750 was the initial offset when I leveled the bed. So we need to adjust that. Most people just, level their bed, level the Z offset, and then they run with a print, and that's when their prints don't turn out right. So the way we do this, and we get minuscule layer lines where we can go straight off the print bed into paint, is if this is what we're getting with that 1.75, then what I'll do is come over here and I will go to 1.85. I'll use that 0.1 adjustment first, and then I'll look and see what we've got. Well, that's even worse. See how it's gumming up? So you want to come back down to the 7.5 and then go to 6.5. And I'll go one more to 5.5. So once I go to 1.55, then I come back over here and look where I am. See what it lays down. And that's pretty bad as well. So let me find somewhere in the middle. Let me go back to somewhere in the middle, which would be 1.65. So I'm now at 1.65, which is 0.1 below where it initially was. You see what kind of layer we get. It's really gummed up, so let me get past some of that gum and see where we are. Get some of that out of the way. So it looks like we've got 2 decent layers there. That's still not right. So let's go up and make an adjustment to 1.7. So now we're at 1.7. Let's see what we get. We're still not getting something that looks right. That still doesn't look right. So let's go. That's 165. 1.8. Let's go 1.85. Let's see what we get. That's even worse. So it looks like our setting is going to be below 185. Let's go down to 1.6. Go to 1.6 and see what we get. Brush some of that garbage out of the way. Now it looks like we're getting close. Now it looks like it's laying down a little more cohesive line. There's still a little bit of fine adjustment, but it is going all the way to the end of the brim with a nice edge. So let's let that run through the rest of this layer, and then we'll start the second layer, which is the key layer, as I mentioned in my previous video. The second layer is the key layer. That second layer will melt into the first layer ever so slightly, and that's what will give you that really nice smooth layer. So I'll cut out, let this finish the rest of this layer, let it start a little ways through the second layer, and then we'll make some final adjustments then. All right, I just wanted to show you this before it starts the second layer. There's where we made the adjustment down to 1.6. It's still a little gummy and it's a little bit rough, but you can see it's a little more cohesive all throughout. None of this mess, none of that mess. So as it starts that second layer and prints an inch or two, we'll come back and make some final adjustment. But that's getting pretty close. But again, there's a little bit of roughness there I can feel. Okay, so we printed in just a couple of inches, and you can see here, this is where we made some adjustments and got close. This is where you want to pay attention because this layer was close. So as soon as you on the first layer get something close, this is where you wanted to feel the roughness, because in the other areas where it's really rough on the first layer, those layers you're going to feel through this layer. So come over here to where you got close and had a fairly decent laydown, and then feel that. If that's rough, which that is still a little bit rough, that's what we're going to come over here and get into the 0.01 adjustment. All right, and we're at 1.6, and you're going to go up or down just a couple of clicks to try and get that layer right there as smooth as you possibly can. So I'm going to go 1.6. I'm going to go 1.61, 1.62. So we're at 1.62 right now. So let's see what it lays down over the next couple of lines and see if it smooths out. And it looks like, I don't know if you can see that, there's a definite difference in that line. Those next couple of lines, it's difficult to tell in the video, but those next couple of lines are way different. These 3 lines right here that just got laid down are way different than the other lines next to it. So we're gonna let that lay down maybe an inch, and then we're gonna feel the roughness of that and see if it's better than it is on the left side that printed prior to this. So I'm gonna cut out and I'll cut back after we've laid down about an inch or two. Okay guys, so what I did before I jump back into this video is I was set at 1.62. I actually moved it to 1.63. So 1/100th of a millimeter I adjusted. This was when we were at I forget what that was. Anyway, when I made the adjustment, I think this is 1.6 right here. Then I moved to 1.62 in this little strip where you can see between those lines. 1.62 right here, and then 1.63 right here. And if you look closely, you can see the lines where I changed things. So 1.6, 1.62 in the middle of that, and now we're at 1.63 right here. The difference in feel in these 3 is tremendous. This one is very rough. The one in the middle right here is a little smoother. The one when I went from 1.62 to 1.63, that right there is smooth. Even though you can see the lines, it still feels very, very smooth. The difference between here and here is only 3/100ths of a millimeter. It is incredibly small, but it made a huge difference in the way that that line is laid down. Very rough, smoother, and very smooth. So that smoothness is what you're looking for, all right? That smoothness you'll also get on the second layer as it lays on top of and melts a first layer that's relatively close. So the second layer is where you want to dial everything in. And again, I reference all of this in the previous video. If I can, I'll link that video or put it up at the end of this video so you can click on it and watch it. But I just wanted to go through this process and show you. Now, what I'm going to do is let this whole print run. It's a print, I think it's a 2-day print. So I'll let this print run, and then we'll come back, and I won't remove the print from the build table, but I will show you what that print looks like when you make these adjustments to get your lines to lay down that smooth, where you run your finger across it and you can feel very, very little. So I'll come back and we'll see what it looks like when it's done. I wanted to add this real quick. We're down about 3 layers so far. Again, the print settings are, let's go back to where we were in the settings, the adjust. There's our Z offset, which we were at 1.63, but I wanted to show you this. 3 layers in, it's pretty smooth, about as smooth as we were gonna get, but I wasn't happy with how smooth it was, like over here. So if you notice, over here, it's extremely smooth, like super, super smooth. And we'll wait till the print head gets out of the way. I don't want to stop the print because it always leads to a little mess up. But right here, you can see the difference in this triangle where it's extremely smooth. And what I did there was I slowed the print down 20%. You can see the difference right here in the corner. See how much smoother this is right here than this over here? You can see the triangle. That is extremely, extremely smooth. What I did was I slowed the print speed. I slowed the print to 80% and I slowed the flow to 80%. So I reduced the print speed and print flow by 20%. And that changed things drastically. So just another, I'm sorry I can't get the camera in there. Just another setting, and we'll see if we can get it on this next round. There you can see the difference, right here. Just another setting, another way for you to change your settings where your print will start coming out smoother. Again, this was relatively smooth, even though you can see lines, it's still pretty smooth. But right here is where it really changed. We didn't change the Z height at all once we dialed it in. All we did was change that flow speed and print speed by 20%. So yeah, the print's gonna take a little longer, but we're gonna save that time in any post-processing that we would have to do. And again, that's part of the process that you go through with each and every model. So we're gonna let this print to its full height, and we'll come back when it's done. Okay guys, here we are with the finished model. You can see that it was let's see if I can get it to focus. Sorry about that. It was a 44-hour and 28-minute print. It is still stuck to the print bed. As you can see, I'm wobbling it, still stuck there. But that is the quality, that's still stuck on the print bed with a brim. That is the quality of print that we get. You see some slag right here? That's gonna be in the STL that I created. So this is a prototype, and I'm gonna have to go into back into Blender and clean up that slag right there. Usually if I hit an auto smooth, that'll take care of it, but if not, then I'll just do a little sculpting and fix that. But there you can see the quality of the print. If I run my finger across that print, if I go way in real close, you're gonna be able to see the actual print lines, if I can get it to focus. I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can get it to focus in on that. There you go. So I'm moving in really tight. That's the quality of print. You can hardly see any print lines there. And that's due to the way that we adjusted the Z-hop, or the Z height when we started to print. Now, if I run my finger across that, that is totally smooth. Whatever layer lines there are there, they're so small that the first layer of paint will sink into those and cover them. I mean, it's just, they're so tiny that, again, you can't even feel them. So for those people that are calling BS on the video, there it is, still stuck on the build plate. As you can see, it's not coming off. And that's the quality of print we get. So that's how it's done. I hope this clears up some questions, and I hope it helps everyone that chose to watch the video. Again, for everyone that watches our video, I greatly appreciate your time. And hopefully the, you know, what you've learned and what you've seen and how we do it, hopefully that saves you some time as well. That's the whole reason why I shoot these videos, is to try and save you guys a bunch of time and a bunch of hassle, and just kind of learn from what I've learned. So hopefully it helps. Thanks again for watching. I've got some other videos out that have to do with bed adhesion, how you can see that our model right here is stuck to the bed and it's not coming off. As a matter of fact, I'll pull that off and you can see it's on there tight. I'm not going to shake that off. So if you want to know how we do that, we have a video that tells you about how we adhere our models to the bed. We have a video for that. So hopefully that helps you as well. Again, the reason why I shoot these videos is to try and help you guys get past some problems that we've gotten past, and you know, hope it helps. So print settings. I'm going to give you the print settings that we use, and you know, hopefully they work for you, but we use the same print setting no matter what we're printing. I mean, if I print a soap dish for my house, I still use the same settings. So we created a custom profile, and we use that custom profile for everything. So those custom profiles, again, will help you get a print that looks like that. Those layer lines are so small, they're almost non-existent, and you certainly can't feel them when you run your finger across them. So what do we use for print settings? Our layer height, let me say this first. We use Cura, and I've gotten a question as, you know, why we use Cura, why don't I use, you know, some other slicer, whatever's out there. Orca slicer or Prusa or whatever is out there. I don't even know how many slicers are out there. And my response is, why would I use another slicer? They say, why not use this? And I say, why use that? Because Cura works for me. It's just simple as that. I don't really understand the thought process that you need to learn every slicer out there. Cura does what we need it to do, so it's what we use. Our layer height is 0.15. Our bed temperature, our print temperature is 210. Our bed temperature is 60. Once the first or second layer prints, we turn that bed temperature from 60 down to 50 during the print. And what that does is it stops the corners of models like this from peeling up, from warping up. And I realize it's from cooling, but if you lower that temperature on your first or after your first or second layer, then the PLA never gets hot enough to have to cool to shrink. So that stopped our corners from curling up. Right after the first or second layer, no later than the second layer, we will turn the bed temperature down to 50. Fan speed, 80%, with 0 fan speed on the first layer. So that layer has a chance to really stick to the bed. I also have a video on how we get our prints to stick to the bed with 0 print bed failures after it's been years since I've had a bed failure, or print bed failure, an adhesion failure, I should say. So check out the video if you want. It's a real short video. It's like 5 minutes, but it tells you how we do it. Just let the video play. That 5-minute video will save you a ton of time. And once you see the product that we use, don't turn off. Watch how we use it, and also how you can remove your model easily from the bed and how you can clean the print bed. That's all in that video. So that's our fan speed. So once again, layer height 0.15, nozzle temperature 210, bed temperature 60, and then down to 50 after the first or second layer. Fan speed 80%, 0 fan speed on the first layer, especially can be the second layer as well. As far as the paint that we use, we've gotten some questions about that. We use no primer at all. We use a single stage industrial fast dry paint. We do have to thin the paint down. It's an 8-to-1 mix with a hardener in it, but it's a single stage paint, and it's made for industrial applications, and it's a fast dry. So what happens is we have 10 sculptures that we paint all at one time, and by the time we paint the first one all the way down to the 10th one, we can actually grab the first one and pull it out of the paint booth and put it on the shelf. The paint dries that fast. It still is a little sticky, but that's the type of paint that we use. That's a big question, is do we use any primer? How much primer do we use? What type of paint we use? So that's it. No primer, a single stage a single stage industrial fast dry paint. And we usually spray one coat as kind of like it's called a tack coat. And what that tack coat does is once you spray it, you allow that tack coat to get tacky. And what that does is allow the second coat of paint to stick to something. If you spray it all in one coat and completely cover it, you're gonna get a run. That's why the first coat is called a tack coat. It's tacky, and it gives the second coat of paint something to grab onto so you don't get runs. But that's it. We only use 2 coats. And the models turn out perfect. They're ready to be presented, as trophies. So hopefully that helps you as well as far as the paint that we use. By the way, the name of the paint is Nason, Nason, Nason Quick Dry. So hopefully that helps you as well.